Welcome to the Crossroads, where we honor the duality of life, embracing the darkness and loving the light. Together we'll explore spiritual philosophy, mythology, shamanic practices, witchcraft, and more. Join me as we journey through the mysteries of life, death, and everything in between. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and not professional advice. Please use your own discretion and enjoy the show. Hi, welcome to The Crossroads. My name is Angela Rajniganda. I am the owner of Archon Apothecary. In today's episode, my first episode, we will be talking about what I call the love and light trap. And let me explain what I mean by that. The modern spiritual community often pushes this whole love and light philosophy, and it's this relentless positivity of this peace and harmony and hippy-dippy, and which all sounds really good, but within that I think lies this very dangerous trap that's designed to program people to remain very excessively passive and docile. And this isn't about bashing love and light. We need love and light. We are love and light. It's more about calling out how these ideals are so often used to manipulate and control people rather than liberate people, as you might think. And this whole love and light programming pushes this idea of constant positivity, constant high vibration, and endless forgiveness and niceness. Don't even get me started on niceness. We'll have to talk about that in another episode. But anyway, it pushes this idea of constant positivity while framing emotions like anger as low vibration, as bad or weak. And it tries to deny our natural human emotions. Even worse, it conditions people to suppress their natural emotions and suppress their natural instincts, which can make people very vulnerable. This, honestly, the whole love and light thing, in my opinion, is such delusion. Nobody's all love and light, and if you think you are, I'm sorry, but you're likely just masked, suppressed, or in denial. This love and light mindset very often leads to spiritual bypassing and masking these uncomfortable or bad emotions or traumas instead of facing them. And people are just told to just let go, just forgive. And this just leaves the root cause of the pain left unchanged, unhealed, just to fester within you. Anger, for example, is a very natural response to injustice or betrayal, but it's so often shamed as being toxic or negative or low vibration, which strips it of all its power and potential as a real force for change. Often those who boldly stand up for themselves are labeled as toxic as a way to silence resistance and I think further perpetuate oppression. This mindset glorifies passive acceptance, encouraging people to surrender to divine timing and even to endure toxic relationships or situations as soul lessons. And while this kind of acceptance does have its place, I do believe in soul lessons and divine timing, blind adherence to these ideals robs people of their autonomy and keeps them in these cycles of harm. This commercialization of spirituality labels love and light as the only acceptable path. And I think this turns spiritual seekers into followers who then conform to a very sanitized and pretty version of spirituality instead of actually embracing truth. And it seems most often when people find spirituality, they turn to love and light because they likely have been living in darkness for so long. They want to go towards the light, and they're not wrong for doing this. But, when that pendulum swings from darkness into the light, it eventually does need to balance back out again. This love and light program greatly discourages things like confrontation and rebellion, which results in blind acceptance and obedience. And this This obedience benefits governments, corporations, and even certain spiritual leaders or spiritual movements. And by keeping people focused on maintaining their high vibration rather than outwardly fighting, opposing, injustice, it ensures a nice, docile population. And this rhetoric capitalizes on the fear of the shadow. By demonizing our darker and more wild aspects, parts of our psyche, spiritual industries profit off of selling tools and courses to help us maintain our high vibration and our constant positivity. And as long as people avoid the shadows, the systems of power remain unchallenged. And this is something I probably can't go too far into at this time. The way passive programming is used on a larger, more global scale to control the population. This is something that may have to wait for another video, maybe exclusively to Patreon, where we're a little more free to talk about these types of things. But anyway, the spiritual empowerment and growth requires acknowledging and embracing the full human experience. And yes, we are all beautiful, divine beings, but we are still human. We are here to have the human experience. True healing, true strength comes from expressing and channeling your anger, your grief, your fear, all your more ugly emotions. And and love itself is not always pretty. Love can be very fierce, very protective, and very ugly when facing harm or danger. Just think if you're a mother or you're a parent at the park with your kid and they're off playing and you see some creep jump out of a van and try to take your child. Are you going to go over there all love and light and, sir, could you please, not do that? No, you're going to run over there and mess someone up, right? Or if, they take your child and the cops find the home where he's being kept or whatever, you want them going over there gently knocking on the door, asking for a moment of their time? Or do you want them going in there guns blazing to save your kid? And I know that's not very love and light of me to say, but let's just be real here. That's the world we live in. And I know that's an extreme example, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Anger is it's far from being a negative trait. This, it's a very, very powerful tool when channeled in healthy ways with intention. It creates boundaries, it demands justice, it sparks change, and it's important to always question these narratives that we're being fed. Who benefits when you suppress your anger? Who gains when you're too zen, to really push back? Acceptance has its value, but it must be balanced with discernment and action. So, pick your battles, but don't ever shy away from standing your ground and fighting for what's right. And, don't be surprised either when you do start embracing your power, that, the people in your life and the systems around you will react. They'll, many people, many systems benefit from you staying small, staying weak, staying compliant. And, I grew up very passive, excessively passive, which led me to be used, abused, walked all over, ignored, dismissed my whole life. And when I finally started really standing in my power, and claiming what's mine, standing up for myself, of course, the people who liked me small and quiet retaliated. And they do to this day. They don't like the new version of me, but honestly, that's not my problem, that's theirs, isn't it? Spirituality isn't just about love and light. It's about balance, light and dark, joy and rage, creation and destruction. True power comes from embracing all of it. Breaking free from the love and light trap does not mean abandoning all compassion. It just means stepping into your full humanity, your full being, and embracing every aspect of you, living as your true, authentic self. And when we shatter the illusion of love and light, you stop being a passive follower and you start becoming this force for transformation. That's where your power begins. And so with that said, thank you for listening today. Thank you for joining me in this conversation, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me at The Crossroads, which is brought to you by Arcana Apothecary. Visit me at arcanaapothecary.com and connect on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue this journey together. Remember, there is a time for love and light, and there's a time for raising hell. Until next time, I'll meet you at The Crossroads.